to the Llama podcast. I'm Gunjan.
I'm Rajiv.
Rajiv, I ran into this headline that said hookah versus vapes versus cigarette, which is more dangerous? And while I was reading this article, they were just trying to bring the focus on the one that the narrative might be that this is dangerous, but then again,
Least dangerous.
yes,
Dangerous.
yes. Uh, that brings me to a point. How should we consume media? Is it just about how many subscribers were increased or how many clicks that headline got? But I want to discuss upon the topic, how do we consume media in today's world?
Mhm. So what was the take? Did you figure out which one is the
One is
the
lesser
least?
evil is all I can say, but I don't want to discuss what.
Yeah. So if I haven't seen that article or anything, but I always see these things as narratives. So and actually this is a problem that is going to explode in our face. It has already exploded with the social media. And now with the artificial intelligence and the ease of generating more content, this is going to be, I think, 100x more difficult for us. And it's actually a very good topic I think we should discuss because I've seen this, how the media shapes our beliefs, our thinking, and everything. And that's why, the government start shutting down the social media, especially in times of riots or other thing, because a lot of rumors and everything, the emotions get provoked by the media. So, so what was your take on it? Like when you read the article, what went through your mind?
This is utter rubbish. And what went through my mind was that we should talk about this. And also, this is not just today's time. Media has always been very insensitive, if I can say, from
Why
very
certain things?
beginning. If you talk about Chicago fire, the headline said Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And then the article said that the cow kicked the lamp, and that's how the fire was spread, which just made immigrants the scapegoat. And more than fire, I think this was just news.
Yeah, yeah, the Great Chicago Fire. Yeah, I remember that. And see, but the main thing that we have to understand, this is where I think how let's talk about how do I consume media, or how would a typical person consume media, right? So the question, why do you consume media? Let's start with that because I believe in things like first principles. You keep going back to why till you get to the first, the bottommost principle of, or the reason for something. So why do we consume media?
See, when we were growing up, uh, the main thing was we should watch news. And it was really simple, 30 minutes of news on Doordarshan in Hindi, in English, and then reading newspaper in the morning, right? That was also not very rigorous, but yes. So the idea was, a you'll get a good command over language, your vocabulary will improve, your grammar will improve, and you'll be more knowledgeable. So when you're in a group, when
Front
you're
of
talking
years.
to,
Yeah.
yes, when you're talking to someone, you'll have some content which is different. Because the thing is that person who has knowledge is the most powerful person in the room.
And that is the fundamental problem. The fundamental assumption that we always have is that the media is here to inform us. And this is where the people who manipulate the media, whether it's the, corporates or political parties or so-called influencer, all these people, they actually start with that assumption that the consumer of this, whatever sound bite or the headline or whatever article, is assuming that they are being informed about something that they should know about. And that's where we stop. That's where the problem is, because we do not do any due diligence about many things. And, this goes back to discussions, we have at our home all the time about, my wife will come and say, see this study that this is saying this, this, this. I said, but tell me who sponsored the study. And why is this publication printing this? And nobody else is talking about it. You see, if there is a volcano eruption happening, like the Ireland volcano eruption, everybody was talking about, but they were all saying exactly the same thing. Right? So then you can cross check, then you can triangulate, or there are different ways you can actually do a quick fact check that is it something correct or not. But whenever we, this is where it also our own biases. So if, let's say, I believe in a certain way of thinking or philosophy or something, we talked about this confirmation bias, right, in one of our episodes.
Yes. we did.
So what happens is that we will only consume the media or information that confirms our bias, which is already there. And that's where all these things ride on. So if you have a particular view, point of view, and you keep consuming the media that reconfirms that point of view, all you're doing is you're building the echo chamber. The issue becomes that how do we, one, consume media? How do we make in our own mind that clarity around why are we consuming it? And how do we fact check it? If it is need to be fact checked, right? If you are consuming the media, you're watching all these, I would say 99% of influencers who I'd say are more entertainers than influencers. Then in your mind, you should say, I'm watching this only for entertainment.
Entertainment purpose only. Right.
Hey, this is not something that I'm not going to learn from, these kids who have not seen anything in life, and they are giving knowledge about the how to solve world hunger.
Right. Even people who talk about finances, and this has happened earlier as well, when I started investing money in share market, and these people will come on, so-called analysts will come on CNBC, and this case came out that one person will tell all his followers or his close-knit people that you buy this share. Then he'll go on TV and he'll say that price of this stock will go up.
Yeah.
Then
The
normal
manipulation.
stupid janta like me will buy those stocks. And then he'll tell his people that, okay, you can sell it now because it has reached the place where it is. People will
So
sell
these
it.
are-
And then,
Exactly.
yes. So again, how do we check the credibility of that person? Of course, we should not blindly follow anyone. That's something that I've learned very hard way. But yes, how do we check the credibility? It should be the ethos of the company. It should be like,
No. I think this is where, I'll go back to one of the quotation that Robert A. Heinlein, one of my favorite authors, he said that if I am selling a horse, it is the buyer's duty to make sure it has a leg in all four corners. So see, you have to understand that the people who are who are generating the media companies, the influencer, or the even people like us who are forwarding WhatsApp message or the these email that you get, the email chains and all that. So we are driven based on what our point of view is. And if I see something, I have that urge to let my friends and family or people that I want either to influence or otherwise to share with them. The problem is we don't pause in between. Though, rather than not blinding, not following everybody blindly, I would use the term that I learned, at Intel was trust but verify.
Say that again.
So trust but verify. So you start with that, hey, I trust you. You come to me and say, hey, Rajiv, I saw this article and, I would recommend that you do this. So as a human being, I would want to start with the trust that, okay, I know Gunjan for so long and this thing and all that. So there's a trust factor. Or even if you're, let's say, total stranger, right? So start with that humane, that yes, I trust another human being to tell me the truth. Give me something that will be beneficial for me. So trust, but then before you act on it, verify. Now, verify doesn't mean that you go into a fact-finding mission. Verify means that you sit down and think, does it really require an action? If you're, one of your closest friend has forwarded you an email or a, message, and it's just simply a forward and can say, okay, I will break the chain. I don't need to forward. Or if you think that, hey, if I forward this, it may provoke more emotions. So let me stop it. So essentially, what you become more of a gatekeeper rather than simply a consumer and forwarder of all this information. So I would say always that's my personal that trust, but then verify, and then decide whether you want to act on it or not.
There's one very nice reel compiled by an RJ Sumukhi, and it's about a weight loss journey. So I think after 13, 14, we all come on this journey of weight loss, and someone is suggesting, oh, you should eat more, walk less, eat more. And then like some really great influencers saying that you never lose weight from running. It was just invented by Nike so that people can buy more shoes. And then she was like, karna kya hai? Right. So
Yeah.
again, when you are on this journey, you want to try everything. There are very simple fundamental things like even Amir Khan said about it, Akshay Kumar said about it, that you need to be first inculcate that discipline.
Yeah, celebrities and any celebrity, whether it's the best basketball player or in India and all or Asian countries, a lot of these movie actors. But in Western countries, a lot of the sports people or some the different people who influence the media or people. Right? So I always would recommend that any celebrity recommending something, you need to pause and think why. Now, that's why when I write celebrities as SCLL, not CEL. So these are people who have sold, so it's more of a business, right? So they are getting sponsorship from Nike or other brands, and then so they are there to sell. They are not there to actually inform. And this is where you would see these quote unquote celebrities who would want to, who try to also be a brand ambassador, but then also try to create their persona as the, hey, you can trust me for the real information, so you can trust me for whatever I'm recommending.
Yes, there's one more point that I want to bring in here. What role does critical thinking play in effective media consumption? Trust verification is all fine, but you think we should be more critical, we should be thinking more critically about what we are consuming?
See, I can tell you that I am much more cynical as of today than I was like 10, 20 years ago. So I see conspiracy in everything. And my friends, kids do joke at me, if they come and say, hey, I saw this, I would say, but tell me why. But see, the main thing is that critical thinking is required. And I would say, as long as you, you know, make it like healthy critical thinking, not tip over to cynicism like, I a lot of times do. So, and that's where I think the balance is. Yes, you hear Jim Cramer talking about some stock on CNBC, recommending stock on CNBC. Now, the way to apply that critical thinking is okay. Let me at least figure out this guy has been recommending, and does he have any vested interest? The Hindenburg report, very very famous, very popular in stock market. So they are short sellers. They go and do, there's a conflict of interest right there and then. They want to short a stock because they make money on the stock, and they publish a report of a company or of a country or whatever to bring the stock down to make money out of it. That's where critical thinking is required. This is where you stop and say, hey, you know, the publisher of this information, I can see there's a direct conflict of interest. Now, how much weightage do I want to give to that? Right. Now, a lot of times people will not disclose all that. So there were, earlier I remember that when the stock market manipulation used to happen, or all these, even the promotional product promotions and all that used to happen blatantly. So there were laws that came out for full disclosures. So now everybody writes about disclosure, right? So that I have interest in this or I don't have any interest in this. But the thing is that, if you look at so many politicians and all that, they may not directly, I may not have interest, but I may be exercising that interest through my spouse or my children or somebody else. Right? So somebody else is a proxy for me. So that's why I say that, and this is where my cynicism comes in. So where do you stop and still continue to have very healthy critical thinking? Is definitely good. And where do you stop not falling into the cynicism bucket?
Yes, Rajiv, very well said. But yeah, with age, people do become cynical. It happens. That's fine.
Okay, I get it.
Next question here is, how can we teach our kids, like young generation, about media literacy?
See, I personally think that the kids are much more smarter at consuming media than we are. And my personal opinion.
No, that's absolutely
Right.
correct. Yes.
Because see what has happened now. Think about, and this is we were having this discussion at home. Our parents' generation, who are in like 80s and mid 80s or whatever. So anybody above 70, 75, I would say. Look at that, how much the world has changed on them 75 years ago. From being a radio or a newspaper or a TV channel, being an authority on the truth, so-called authority, right? Even in those days, I'm sure that the moment media came out, and I'm sure industrialists and the politicians and everybody started using media for their own benefit. But from there to 24/7 radio, 24/7 media, to internet, and now AI. So think about that, how much they have to cope up with this change. And I'm sure that, our generation will have, every generation will have more, but the generation that is, born in the last, I would say, the kids who are like in their teens right now. I personally think that they would be much more savvier in understanding the difference between all these social media things and other things versus other, the adults.
Um, Not very sure about that, Rajiv. I have a boy, and whatever I say, he will challenge it. He was suffering from throat pain and cold, and I gave some home remedy that you can do this, and it involves salt and pepper. And it involves like a lot of ghee, salt, and pepper, and that's how your throat gets relieved. Then he said, "Can I eat chips?" I was like, "No, those are too spicy, and it will just hamper it." He Googled it. That, "Mama, you were right. Pepper will help, and spices will not." I'm like, I'm your mom. I have much
Yeah,
more
but you see,
experience than that.
but that is exactly trust and verify.
No, we're talking
That
about
is
trusting
exactly trust and
media,
verify.
not your mom.
No, but he's verifying the information, right? He's not trusting. He trusted you, but he's verifying it. Hey, let me because as a parent, I'm sure, we have our own narrative, right? So we have our own things that we learn may or may not be right. So that's why I'm saying that the kids are much more savvier in consuming the media than we give them credit.
No, I agree to that. But all I'm trying to say is that, just
Your feelings are hurt.
verifying everything from Google does not help. Maybe some chips company can say, no, 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 chips can help you in your cough and
Yeah,
cold
yeah,
because it is
yeah,
spicy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
again, and it will not take a fraction of second to tell me that, no, Mama, what you were saying was incorrect. This is what Google is saying. He read the
But
information.
then you can have a debate, then you can have a discussion,
Yeah.
right? Then you can teach your child to say, okay, let's look at the study. Is it sponsored? If it is sponsored, then who sponsored it? Oh, the chips company sponsored the study. Okay, that means that they have a vested interest in this thing. Right. So the main thing is that, see, all this is also based on the communication and discussion between individuals. Right. So if you tell me something, if I'm trying to verify the information, it's not that I'm disrespecting or anything. I'm simply saying, hey, as an individual, I trust you, but let me verify because you may have gotten the information incorrect. It's not that you're sure that you have the best interest, but the thing is that maybe your source is wrong. It's like all the conspiracy theories around we did not land on the moon or this and all that. Yes, there will always be conspiracy theories about things. There will always be media manipulation. You keep that fact in mind, and then you start consuming the media with that clarity. That's all. And then I think the other thing that, what I practice and I have been practicing for a very, very long time is, in my mind, I have compartmentalized things. So when I consume, let's say, social media, in my mind, I'm just doing it for entertainment purposes. No matter how good the article is, no matter how authentic it looks, even the news these days, even the newspaper, even the magazines and all that. And I'm actually now coming to a point where I think even some of the books are created to build a narrative, which is becoming, I can see why it is happening because the, see, here's the very simple thing. The cost of a thought propagation or idea propagation is close to zero. And because of that, there's tons and tons of garbage out there.
It is.
Earlier,
There's a lot
earlier
of
to get a
e-waste.
book published or to write an article and get it published, the cost to that was humongous. So people would take a lot of effort around making sure that what they publish, would not backfire on them. These days, you can write utter nonsense because the cost of idea propagation is zero. So tomorrow you can change your idea and you can. So essentially, what is happening is that I use the term burden of understanding has shifted from the creator to the consumer.
So true, so true. And I want to draw a comparison here, and this is related to fake news. And both these news are fake. That in next 100 years there'll be no water, or scientists have discovered that they'll make water from air, or making anything.
That's where the water comes from.
Both these news will spread like fire without any verification.
So this is actually, that's a very, very, very interesting example you took. When we were growing up, if you remember in the 70s and early 80s.
Yes, pani
The
amute, pani
hue
ka
and cry
chahiye.
about, the oil is getting over, there'll be no oil in less than 50 years or 100 years. And now they're talking about the same about water. And actually, I had a discussion on exactly this topic with another friend of mine who actually works at Google, and he's like a PhD guy, you would see that. And he was very much adamant, hey, we need to conserve water and all. I asked him one question. I said, okay, tell me, since this earth was formed versus today, has even a single droplet of water left our atmosphere? How much of water has left the atmosphere? Minuscule portion, but I think it's close to zero. I said, then what does that tell you? The water is not getting less. What is happening is consumption is increasing and mismanagement of water is increasing.
Yes.
And that's all. Now, the problem that has become is not about lack of water. It is because of mismanagement of water. And also we are polluting the water that we need to be consuming. So the output of that is that you need to educate and become cognizant of that. I should not pollute the environment that I am part of. There's a very, very interesting quotation that a lie told 7 times becomes a truth.
Yes.
Right? So that's what we're talking about.
And this reminds me of some Bollywood movies. मैं आजाद हूँ, फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी. And then there was this movie from Amir Khan, Peepli Live, which was such a slap on Indian media. The way they.
But same thing, they in US, like the Wag the Dog, and there was a very, very, very interesting movie that I think Mad City, how to sensationalize an event, how the media creates that narrative. So yeah, I think the examples are out there a lot, which are trying to tell us, the media is trying to tell us, hey, don't take everything at the face value.
Well, Rajiv, it has always been a challenge. Clicks, likes, share, subscribe. And I remember when I went to see Lady Liberty, and they wanted some funding. So the newspaper editor said that, okay, whoever will fund will send out donation for this Statue of Liberty. We'll put their name in newspaper. That time there was no social media. And this actually changed the fortune of that newspaper, because everybody wanted to see their names in newspaper. And even if they were making like 10 cents or $10 or $100, it was coming in newspaper. And he did not tell when that name will come. So people were buying that newspaper every day. So it has been a conscious strategy always.
Yes.
How to fool people.
Yes. People, see, you have to understand, the people in the media, they are there to make money.
It's a business.
It's a business. The moment you keep that in mind, then all the other things start becoming very clear.
Right. Right. Well, all I want to say is, Rajiv, knowledge is power, but misinformation is a supervillain. For my listeners, stay curious, stay critical, and we'll see you next time. Closing comments from you, Rajiv.
I think you said it brilliantly, and I would just repeat what I said. Trust,
No.
but verify.
No, you have written something related to this, and I remember when Nirbhaya case happened, you jotted down something very beautifully. Please, for our listeners.
But that's a very long poem, and
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't talk about the narrative per se. That mainly talks about the how all this the propaganda machine, and all that. So
Okay, so next time then we'll have a topic about propaganda.
yeah, I think it will be more suitable there, but because it is a long poem, it's not like a couplet or something, and it doesn't fit directly here. So that's why I'm hesitating. But I think the main thing I would say is that yes, trust but verify is a very simple thing. And I have been following that for many years. And the other thing is be very conscious about the media that you're consuming and the purpose behind it. Are you consuming for entertainment? Are you consuming it for knowledge? Are you consuming it for your curiosity? Are you consuming it for, being naughty or being troublesome? Whatever it is, right? Be very conscious and then do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Do visit our website, dalailama.com. Do let us know if you want to come on our show. We'll be more than happy to host you. Stay curious.